Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So Apple had their spring event last week, which is called the Spring Loaded event. And usually they talk about a couple of items, but this time there was a lot more products that they went over. And it was kind of a surprise to me, honestly, because during the spring event they usually talk about one or two things, and this time they had technically five new products to talk about. So in order, they talked about a purple iPhone, after that was the AirTags, then a new 4K Apple TV, the new iMacs, and a new iPad Pro. So the big news with the iPhone is just that for the iPhone 12 lineup, specifically the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini, there's now a purple variant. And if you want to learn a little bit more about why that's an interesting choice instead of the product red variant that they normally do during the spring event, MKBHD did a really good video on that. I will have that link down below. It's really cool learning a little bit more about why they chose to do purple for this event and this timing. And so yeah, I'll just leave that to him to talk about. The next thing was the AirTags, and the AirTags are basically like the tile trackers. They have a little replaceable CR2032 battery in them. They can be laser engraved to have customizations on them, and they sell for $29 for a single one or $99 for a 4-pack. And personally, I'm thinking about getting at least a few of them. I want one for my keys, also for my parents, their keys for their cars. And I might get a couple extra ones to put in different bags and stuff, maybe like a camera bag or my backpack. Just have a little bit of extra security when I'm carrying those around. There's a lot of detail that goes into how these work. There's a lot of security things and just a really cool feature set that they have that I may talk about in a later video. Beyond that was the Apple TV. And I've always had the latest Apple TV since I think the 3rd generation. This will be the 5th generation that's coming out. And I'm curious to get this. I'm not 100% sold on getting one, but I will most likely just get one to review and also to have. There's a lot of features to it that are pretty cool. The main ones being that now you can do 4K 60 over AirPlay with Dolby Vision. And the curious thing to me is there's a 2.1 HDMI port on the back. So that's what the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and basically all of the new GPUs that came out from both AMD and NVIDIA use. And that's so you can get a 4K 120Hz signal out of the card. But they don't support high refresh on the Apple TV. I don't know if that's by choice or if that might be an upgrade further down the line. But either way, for me, I think that maybe 120 Hz could be coming to the Apple TV eventually, or maybe they're just saving it for something else. It could be a limitation of the iPhone chip that's running the brains of the device. So I'm not sure what the reasoning is there. Maybe it is an update future down the line. But the other big news that came out with the Apple TV, and the main reason why a lot of people would be interested in getting this version, is because of the new Apple TV remote, which is completely redesigned and will be a lot easier for especially some elderly people, personally like my parents, or people who didn't really enjoy using the swipe navigation on the previous generation, which was just a giant touchpad at the top end of the Apple TV remote. Now it actually has clickable buttons, and it's just a little bit nicer overall. So you can buy them standalone apparently. I don't remember if it's $69 or $79, but I'll go back and check that. But again, I'm more likely just to buy the new one because I'm curious for just all the new features that come with it, and hopefully maybe 120 Hz coming to that in the future. So going on from there, the next thing is the new iMacs, which they spent a decent amount of time talking about. But the real thing to know is if you've seen what any of the recent iMac generations look like, it's pretty much the same thing. The only difference is that now it is completely thin, looks a lot more like an iPad, and they come in 7 colors, which they made an interesting choice in many ways, and this has been a very controversial topic for a lot of people. The backside is a very vibrant and strong color, where there's more of a muted pastel on the front, as well as white bezels. And a lot of people are complaining that the white bezels just don't look good. In my opinion, I think it actually looks kind of cool. I think it's more fun. It's not meant to be like a pro user, just amazing performing computer. It's just for people that want an iMac but don't need the highest end. So there's 2 variants. There's the $1299 base model, and then there's the $1499 slightly higher end model, which has an Ethernet port integrated into the external power brick, which magnetically attaches to the computer. I think it's pretty cool. And you also get a Touch ID Magic keyboard that's wireless that comes with the iMac, sorry. So the Mac trackpad, mouse, and the Magic Keyboard are all now color-coded to the Mac that you buy. And there's been a few complaints about the design of it because they've rounded off the keys that are in the corners. It doesn't look the best, and I would have preferred probably the stronger color that you would see on the back side of the Mac versus the pastel. But at the end of the day, I won't be getting one. I don't have a use for it. I really like them, but I can't justify purchasing one for my reason. I mean, I have the M1 MacBook back here, and that's the Pro version, not the Air. And then of course I have like my 4K monitor that I use every day anyways. So I really don't have a use for it. I would consider it maybe for my parents as a new way to get into Apple computers. And these run on the M1 chips, so it's the same as that, and also the new iPad Pro that I'm about to talk about. But I think it's really cool. I think it's kind of an engineering achievement that they were able to do with the thermals and everything. Of course, using the M1 chip is a lot more efficient than using any of the Intel CPUs along with the graphics that go with them. But from that point, that's the reason why it still has a big chin, along with speakers that are in there and small fans. There's a lot of people that say they could have gotten rid of the chin probably and just moved all those internals up into behind the display, and that would have been better. But honestly, I don't mind it too much. I kind of like the way the iMacs look, but I think maybe the black bezels would have been better, at least for when the screen was off. And but that's a huge topic. Like, I can go into a lot of detail about this and the iPad Pro, since they spent about, I think, 30 minutes just on the new iPad Pro. But moving on to that, the new iPad Pro is a really beefy upgrade in minor ways. So it now has a mini LED display, which is comparable to what you can find on their $5,000 XDR Liquid Retina display, the 6K monitor that they have. And it's really cool, really technical. It gives it amazing colors, and then there's a new Magic Keyboard because it's a little bit thicker. So that's $349 for that additional accessory. Plus, when you include the Apple Pencil, which is, I believe, $129, and the iPad Pro starting at $1099, it becomes expensive, and at that point you might consider just getting like a MacBook or something for that price. But this is pretty much the closest the iPad has ever gotten to being a MacBook replacement, at the very least. And a lot of people now want to see macOS running on this new iPad Pro. And it is powered by the new M1 chip, so again, that just pretty much makes it a touchscreen version of the MacBook Air. So it's super cool. Those are the main updates, including the USB-C port that's on there is now Thunderbolt compatible, so it pretty much gives it everything it needs to be a touchscreen MacBook. So from those points, I am struggling with this because I have the new iPad Air, which runs on the A14X chip. I believe it's A14. I'll put that up here somewhere. But it's a really good chip. It's the first 5nm on the iPads, and I love my iPad Air. It's great. I love the new fingerprint sensor that's on there, the new Touch ID that's built into the power button. And I previously did have the 12.9 iPad Pro, and I moved away from it because I didn't want something with so much power. But now thinking about this new one and just how amazing it is, having two screens of almost the same size with the same chip in them, same kind of performance, and a much better display that can be used for editing photos and things like that, and have a much more accurate display for colors, is kind of swaying my opinion just a little bit. I just know that it's not really an investment that I want to make, but it is something I am now greatly considering, unfortunately. So that's pretty much the Apple event in a nutshell. If you would like me to expand on any of these points and go into more detail about any of these products, let me know in the comments, reach out to me anyway. And also, the other big reason why I've been enjoying watching Apple events, their keynotes specifically during this pandemic time, is the cinematic production that goes into creating them. They're very cool how they do them. They have these awesome transitions. MKBHD also does a great job talking about this because he's a little bit more knowledgeable than I am. Well, a lot more knowledgeable. But I just think that having all these things is really cool, and the way that they've been able to present them has been a new kind of refreshing look on how Apple's presenting their products instead of the more traditional keynote sense that they've always done with having people come up on stage and talk about them and then showcase a couple things on a big screen and then, you know, transition that way. With this, they've been able to have different presenters come from different parts of their either campus that they have in California. I'll just leave it at that because I can't remember exactly which city. And just having a different way of presenting things. Being on top of the building, inside the building, pretending to do like underground lab things. It's really cool, and also being able to transition outside of the campus as well and having people talk about it. It's just been a wonderful time. And I kind of hope they keep this up in the future, but I know with things starting to kind of come back to being normal around here in the States and all that, sort of, that they'll probably go back to those old school keynote presentations. So we'll just have to see what happens. I'm really looking forward to what's next, and these products, most of them will be available this coming Friday, April 30th, to pre-order, and most of them will be shipping in the latter half of May. So if I order any of them, I won't be getting them until late May. It would be really nice to have them sooner, but you know, that's just not gonna happen, and that's fine, honestly. Just to have them is really cool. And well, yeah, so thank you for watching, thank you for the support, and I have more videos coming, of course, always. And like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much.